Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Nobunaga's Ambition, Sphere of Influence, I think? Is that what this one is? I think that's what this one is. I'm the Mysterious JG. So yeah, we had some drama last couple of videos. A lot of, by my standards of my humble channel, some discussion going on in the comments. I think people were kind of confused as to what's going on. Froxus Neelock captured by the Oda. Then actually defects to their side. I captured her right back. And then off screen, took her back to base and found out she was going to refuse to return to the Takeda. So we figured out some things about the game engine along the way. I don't precisely understand what would cause an officer to switch sides when captured or not switch sides. But it doesn't seem like the required loyalty number affects it. That affects how happy they are within the force. But Froxus Neelock having a required loyalty score of 1 means, basically, as far as I can make out, it means once they've sworn their oath, they're going to conduct themselves and they're not going to worry too much. Like, if she switched to a force, you wouldn't have to give her a whole lot of briberies and gifts to make her loyal to her new force she was in. Doesn't seem to affect whether or not they are willing to switch forces when captured, though. I also think we pretty much confirmed there's a 6-month minimum time when an officer joins a new force before they'll betray it. Because that's what it was. As soon as we made sure 6 months had elapsed, she was willing to come back to the Takeda. So, the actual, hold on 1 second. Oh, sorry. I always want to Let's Play and then suddenly find myself yawning. Froxus Bant, the actual YouTube user who submitted the Froxus Neelock character, their headcanon in all this is that Shingen had been having dreams. Like, we had this sort of alternate storyline, right? I was playing around trying to go from the beginning to the end in one scenario, but we hit a point where, because of the way the AI had behaved, Okahazama wasn't going to trigger. So we kind of considered that an interesting little side path, but instead started a new scenario at Okahazama, which is what we're playing through to the end. So during the Okahazama scenario, we were allied, or during the scenario pre-Okahazama, this kind of like Gaiden side path we've got now, we were trying to keep the Oda alive and were allied with them, but also simultaneously allied with the Imagawa, and unable to directly affect the Mitsudaira. We kept trying to find ways to keep the Oda alive against the Mitsudaira and the Imagawa. So Froxus Bant has said, oh, Froxus Neelock, like Shingen was talking about these strange dreams he had, and Froxus Neelock got confused and thought they were real, and that's why she was willing to help the Oda. That's not my headcanon. I'm not going with that myself. Because it's kind of cute, but I'm like, well, if Shingen was having these weird dreams, Shingen would not be sharing them with very many people. It was a big deal for Shingen that, everybody think everything was going good. If he thought there were problems, he didn't want anyone to know, other than a very small circle of people he trusted. And I don't think Froxus Neelock, honestly, would be one of them. He would trust Froxus Neelock to do her duty, but I don't think he'd trust her with personal information of that kind, because she's just not that savvy. She's not somebody who would really understand what to do with that information. Froxus Neelock represents, like, the character, I think, is pretty consistent with someone who's intelligent, but not particularly sophisticated, politically sophisticated, not savvy. She's, like, really capable of doing all these tasks and will work really hard, but she's not somebody who really understands the greater strategy and the personal interplay between the warlords and stuff like that. Shingen is. The source I get for a lot of this stuff is the novel Shogun, which is a fictionalized tale where the main samurai character, whose head we spend a lot of time in, is I think the character's name is Tokunaga. They're basically a fictionalized version of Ieyasu Tokugawa, and the entire novel is set after it's set in the lead up to Sekigahara, where where this Tokunaga guy is trying to secure a way to defeat a villain whose name is I think his name is Ishido. It's Mitsunari Ishida is the actual historical counterpart, but that's a fictionalized story of Ieyasu trying to figure out how to get allies and put stuff together and be able to defeat Mitsunari, which of course eventually he does. That novel also involves a character who is based on the same historical character that your man Anjin-san from Neo is based on. But blah blah blah. Well, what I'm getting at here is that, like, yeah, Shingen is a guy. My headcanon for all this, I got to stop belaboring this, because if you don't follow me at this point, you're not going to. Froxus got captured by the Oda. She was captured specifically by Hanbei Takanaka after having fought Nobunaga. So my headcanon is Hanbei takes her before Nobunaga. Nobunaga, who's a pretty slick speaker, and Hanbei also a slick speaker. Her head's kind of spinning. She feels like she's failed the Takeda. She feels like she deserves to die. During a really emotionally fraught time, they convince her that she can, that the Oda have a noble cause. She kind of agrees during a confusion to help them. But then she's very quickly taken back, and Hanbei himself are also captured by the Takeda. So while she's in a prisoner cart being returned, Hanbei is trying to figure out how he can get over to the Takeda side, because while he supports Nobunaga and thinks he's a good lord, the writing is on the wall. It doesn't look like Nobunaga's going to be able to win. Froxus is in a state of shock at everything that's happened, and is basically convinced she deserves to die because she failed the Takeda and then turned on them, and she's just kind of losing her mind, and says, well, I'm not worthy to come back. They should put me to death. And so what Kawanawari Sanada, so to a lesser degree, so the characters who are, in my mind, are in this drama, you've got where is she now? Naminara, I think, is the one who actually captured her. Although, was it Naminara or was it one of the other created officers? It wasn't Elmendreda the Avatar. I'll know in a sec. If I see the portrait, I'll know in a second. I think it's Natsuko Sasaki. Yeah, like, she had captured Froxus. Froxus was behaving kind of strangely. She's not the super intelligent officer. She's mostly a military officer, but she's kind of aware that something's wrong. So Kawanawari Sanada kind of finds a way to have a private conversation with Shingen. Says, we're not sure that Froxus is going to return to the clan when she's asked. And it's like a private meeting. No one is allowed to know this is happening. This is all behind the scenes secret stuff. Shingen's like, well, we got to, you got to find a way to get her to come back, because if I ask her in a public way to return and she refuses, I have to put her to death. So Kawanawari Sanada devises a plan where they say that the facilities for receiving prisoners at Nakano Castle aren't ready, and they need to do some work. So we have the army stays outside of town. They put her up in an inn. He's able to have some secret visits with her and with Hanbei Takanaka. Basically, Hanbei wants to come over. So between them, Kawanawari Sanada and Hanbei concoct a plan to just kind of, they just talk Froxus Nilok around. They calm her down. They explain to her that this was all part of Shingen's plan to extract Hanbei from the Oda to serve the Takeda. That she did well. That everything's good. And again, Froxus, capable at doing the things she's tasked, but she doesn't have political savvy. She's naive. So that's my headcanon. Hanbei, and not that this was the plan all along, but Hanbei decides he wants to join, so he and Kalanawari Sanada convince Froxus Neelock that this was the plan all along, that this was what was always desired, that she did well. She's then able to return to Shingen with her head held high, and Shingen, when he meets her again, acts as though everything is great, there was never any problem, but he makes sure that his spies, including Kalanawari Sanada, are telling him she's going to accept the offer to return before he publicly makes the offer. Then, once he gets her back in the forest, he quietly assigns her to a tasking far away from the front line with the Oda, and has her do what she's good at, was building up cities on the back line against the Uesugi. That's my headcanon. There was some talk about, hey, once she comes back, let's like put her in a position to lead a suicide charge. Like, no, I don't think, unless they're marching against the Uesugi, who, you know, Shingen's confident that she has no mixed loyalties with the Uesugi. I don't think he wants her leading armies at all right now, because she was a little flighty. But, I mean, the main thing is, like, you know, we don't have, as playable officers, we don't have them, but presumably you know, they talk about Froxus Neelock's grandfather. Like, there are Neelock clan members. He doesn't want to exterminate this Neelock family, which has been loyal to the Froxus family, whatever they are. They've been loyal to the Takeda. He doesn't want to bring dishonor to that family, so they're finding, like, kind of very Eastern, like, you know, what's said on the surface doesn't necessarily match what's going on behind the scenes. He has to find a public way for Froxus Neelock to save face. That's my canon. We spent half a video on this, though. God damn. Okay, let's move on. So, we need to kind of chill out with the marching. I really want to take Sakurabora Castle so that we can get all these officers of the Saito. And I'd like to get Minoa Castle just because it's a really good castle. Like, I kind of want to grab Numata Castle, Minoa Castle, and Umeyabashi Castle just to isolate these Uesugi cities down here from the rest of the Uesugi force, because that way I can allow the Hojo to deal with them. The Hojo are going to take over the Kanto eventually. I don't care anymore because they are my permanent ally, and even if they take over the Kanto, I'm now positioned where I'm going to be stronger than they are. So they wouldn't betray me anyway. That's not the way permanent alliances in this game work. There's no story event that will trigger them to betray me, so the AI won't betray me. I can betray a permanent ally. It's a little bit of a flaw. That the human player can do that, but the AI won't. But anyway, yeah, I'd like to grab these 3 cities. That'll be a pretty significant investment of resources. I really want to take this city. But generally, we need to slow down because we're burning through food, marching all these troops, fighting the Oda, destroying the Mitsudaira. It was a very busy year militarily. So it's time to concentrate on the domestic. We've got things to do. We got a village here we can turn into a cargoman. You're not a warrior, you're a politician. Here we've got a workshop that can be turned into a stables, which is a thing we're always good to do. Now we don't have a ton of gold, but I want to start building up some castles. And there's a couple of ones we could go with. Despite having spent the entire freaking video so far chatting about past videos, and re-explaining for like the 3rd time my thought process on Froxus Neelock, I did right before I started recording, I spent a little time thinking about what castles to improve. So there's kind of 4 ones that we could consider working on. Kunamine Castle's on the front lines up here. You can't tell, it's annoying, in the menus, when you're looking at a city, you can see it says three districts. There's nothing that I can see that tells you how many potential districts there are. Kunamine has 3 developed districts, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4 undeveloped districts. It really, when this city maxes out, which could take a very long time and may never happen, this city would actually have 7 districts, but the menus keep saying 3 because that's how many are currently going. And that's annoying here as well, because this city, well, I can't really go in and check. It says 4 of 4. And I'm thinking, well, maybe if I sent a spy over, I could find out. I don't think I would, because even this view on a city where I actually own the city and therefore have the maximum amount of information, it says 3/3, which is just kind of ridiculous. Tsutsugi-Kisaki is another example. It says 5 of 5. But we know we have districts in Tsutsugi-Kisaki that haven't developed yet. Because it's our starting city. Like, with any force, it starts with at least one city that's just got all sorts of potential to grow. So, it's annoying. I can't check and see what enemy cities. Because here it's like, well, maybe don't bother to advance Kunamine Castle, because I'll spend the resources in Minoa Castle once we have it. With Minoa Castle, you can tell... How do I get over there? You can tell how much space you have in the castle for development, even if you haven't taken the city yet, but you can't do the same thing with the domestics. It just says District 4 of 4, even though we know there's more potentially than that. That being said, we could start building castle facilities to increase population growth in Kunamine. Another one is Toishi. It's got a whole bunch of districts. This place could be a real crazy good base eventually. Not Uehara. Takato Castle kind of snuck up on me. This is one that could develop and be really, really good. Imamura Castle, pretty unimpressive. But you come down here, we've got these... This is like not a great base, is despite what it looks like in the terrain, because it doesn't have that many places. Kutsukake could be okay. Korea and Ansho are so close together, they're using up all the same... They had to split the same set of hexes between them. But Okazaki Castle could grow big. So I kind of want to pick one and just commit, or I guess I could split between. But I want to spend some resources getting these bases growing faster. So we got Takato, and I think that might be the smart move. Is to pick... We don't have great officers in Takato for that. We got a residence here, a large gate, earth wall, so we're already doing most of what we can do here to grow quickly. So we could get Yukitaka to get the population growing even faster there. But then we got these other places where we've done... Oh, space here is super limited, huh? Well, this place can never have a good... Well, let's just go ahead and give them... They won't get a residence, but we can give them a large gate. That's a shame. Yeah, this is a tiny little castle. We can't get a residence here because it wouldn't leave us enough facilities to do much of anything else. The turret's not really critical. We could get rid of it, but it's only buying us one space. We'll go ahead and get a large gate going here. It'll take a while, but we'll have Kazuhiro build that. Then Okazaki. Tarakatsu, get working on that. maybe we can slowly at Tokado Castle start working on... Yeah, it's going to take forever. I got Toriyama and Vulture Bobo. Those are good military officers, but they're not good to get a... Well, we need to get an earth wall going there, too, in order to even get the next level of... to get the next level of residence, like we need a better wall. So that was a lot of gold spent. And the only other thing I thought about between videos... There's an entice command. We haven't done much with this. But I know if my plan was to go after Minowa Castle, we would have to deal with the Uesugi. They would march out of Numata Castle, Umabayashi Castle, possibly even these castles, though the Hojo would get in the way. So if we haven't done much with it, but there is an entice command where we build up discontent with an enemy officer and then can conspire with them. We could, it would take many turns, work on a plan to get this officer here, Takahiro Kitajo, not to defect to us necessarily, but to refuse to fight us when his troops are deployed. I don't know if it would be worth the effort. So I'm kind of wondering, well, how much gold does it take to play with? Because it just might be an interesting thing to try for the LP. It would basically use Grimmeth's turn. And it costs 300 a month. Yeah, let's try it. Let's see what we can do with this, just for fun. I'll begin discussions with Takahiro Kitajo. So out of curiosity... Who is Takahiro Kitajo? This is not the way to do this, because it's going through the A's. So I really want to go through the Uesugis. I don't know why I'm not just looking for him through Takahiro Takajo, but... There he is. He's a Uesugi retainer, lord of Umabayashi Castle. He was placed in charge of managing the Kanto region. At their request, he set up several uprisings for Shingen Takeda and Uji Yasu Hojo. Interesting. So he was a guy. He doesn't like his boss very much, and he doesn't think he cares about the discontent. Well, that's B spending money to make him discontent, actually. But he was a guy who specialized in covert activities, creating uprisings amongst enemies, and now we're doing covert activities involving him. So it's a couple of $100 gold a month to just play with this. It probably isn't going to go anywhere useful, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Anyway, let's end the turn. Got a bunch of road improvements going on.
The enemy is heading for our territory.
13,000 men are marching against Kunamine Castle, huh? Well, that's interesting, because that's the... Well, I was conspiring against them, but it's going to be too late to do anything. Or, they attacked before I could do anything with it. Okay. 15,000. 15,000. 500. 15. That's 1,500. 1,000. So it's a large collection of fairly weak units. So we're going to have Shingen Takeda, Hanzo Hato... Oh, man. I was supposed to spend this turn redistributing all these new officers I got. I didn't do any of that. But here's the problem. I'm low on food. So we got 36,000 food. We can send a unit out under Shingen.
Move as swift as the wind.
Do we want Froxus in battle right now? Might be, like, with her, they are 173.96. Without her, significantly less powerful. Well, I guess we could go with she's being given an immediate chance to redeem herself.
Let us gracefully descend upon the battlefield.
Apparently there's no one of any use at all here. So he's just going on his own.
The battlefield will be mine.
And we will have to pull these guys back if they decide now to jump on Toishi Castle. But I'm going to try to do it with these guys for now. Because depending on how many guys are in this fight, like how many I have left, we might be able to actually take Umayabashi Castle, which I'd really like to do. I want to get Minoa Castle. I'd probably drive for Nobunaga Castle too, but Minoa Castle is going to take some doing because it's just a really powerful castle. But if I can grab Umabayashi Castle and Minoa Castle, which is not a Uesugi base, but it's a little clan with only 3 members that's allied with the Uesugi, that would cut them off. And of course, I want to continue with the Hojo to work up... Oh, these guys here are attacking too. I didn't see that. I really need the Hojo to help then. I'm kind of hoping the Hojo, like, they wouldn't just be able to march right through the Hojo's territory without creating problems. But if they're careful, they can march up these paths. The Hojo won't necessarily engage them. So this will be a little harder than I thought. Oh, what the hell am I doing? I need to deploy Kazuhiro's unit.
Let's head out.
Ryutoshi.
Let's get some glory.
They'll be okay marching that way because it's the Hojo are our buddies. And I guess I'm not going to be able to attack the Saito for a minute.
Onward to the
But yeah, I'm going to send enough to make sure. Like, I hope I don't run out of food. But we're going to send enough that we're basically guaranteed we'll be able to fight them off. But, you know, only if they arrive in time. But the Uesugi also have a ways to march, so...
Onward to the battlefield. We march.
Okay, the Hojo are out. The question is he send out 500 man unit? Like, they're just going to stand there and guard their own cities. They're not actually going to help me. Okay. Or maybe not. Maybe they will help. Shirakawa clan was eliminated by Utsunomiya clan. And yeah, just when I thought I was going to get to be domestic for a while, the Uesugi decided, no, JG, you're not the only one who decides what happens in this world. We got our own stuff. Now, the Oda have been quiet because I think they're also trying to rebuild. Matter of fact, I wonder if they're out of crops. The AI looks at this. I don't. I actually have more crops than anyone else, despite the fact that I keep talking like I'm low on crops. Oh no, supply. That's what I need to be looking at. I'm a little confused as the difference between supply and harvest. Or crop supply and harvest. One of them is how much supply you have on hand. One of them is how much you're going to get each year. And then I don't know what the third one could be. At any rate, I don't have the most supply because I have spent so much of it. The Oda do have more than I do. So the Oda might be smart to actually, like, jump up right now and attack. But if they do, it's not going to be until the next video. So I'm going to call it right here. When we come back next time, despite my hope that having exhausted my food supplies with all my constant offensive warfare, we could go into a rebuilding phase, somebody's decided to take advantage and attack me. And it would be the force that will be a thorn in our side until after I've taken Kyoto, because I'm just not going to devote the time and energy to dealing with them until we finish the last mainline quest and taking Kyoto. But yeah, the Uesugi. Kenshin, even though he's not called, he's still like Masatora, I guess. But Kenshin Uesugi is the nemesis of Shingen Takeda, and he's going to be a pain in our ass forever. Or at least until we finally destroy him, which will not be very soon. This is going to be a big fight against the Uesugi. It ain't going to be the last. Catch you guys next time.